Lawrence Okolie is back in the ring this Saturday, May 27th, in a defense of his WBO Cruiserweight title against Chris Billam-Smith, a fighter he's very familiar with, and this is also going to be a very fast turnaround for Okolie. Let's talk about this fight. WBO Cruiserweight champion Lawrence Okolie is returning this Saturday, May 27th, to defend his title for the second time in 5 months. Okolie is taking on Chris Billam-Smith, a fighter who he has trained in the gym with for a number of years, sparred with, and had become quite friendly with. But now it's all business, as the two of them will face off against one another from the VideoStack Stadium, Bournemouth, out of the UK. This is the type of fight that is going to be interesting because the men are so familiar with one another, and the maturity that each will show, knowing what's at stake and how they have to separate and compartmentalize what their objectives are. Billam-Smith is entering the ring with a record of 17-1 with 12 KOs. His single loss was a July 2019 decision drop to Richard Riaporte, and in that fight he was dropped in the 7th round. He has since gone on to win and win consistently, but his quality of opposition has been moderate, to say the least. He is the type of fighter who is very strong and typically well conditioned. He also is an aggressive fighter, and in this fight he's going to have to find a way to get at the much taller Okolie, who will be trying to use that 82-inch reach against him. Billam-Smith is the type of fighter who also has a huge following in the UK. He's popular, and people seem to gravitate toward him because he is a gritty type fighter. Now Okolie, who is, again, as I said, a taller foe by a couple of inches and a much longer reach, is not necessarily a fan favorite. His record currently is 19-0 with 14 KOs, and his last fight against David Light in March of this year was a snore fest. I mean, an absolute, it was a fight to put you to sleep. There was a lot of hugging, clinching. There wasn't a lot of action. Okolie was able to pot shot, grab and hold, not do much. He didn't even put Light in jeopardy of being KO'd. It was a lackluster performance, to say the least. However, when I heard about this fight signing and the fact that they would be meeting up so soon after his last defense, I made a video talking about Lawrence Okolie being probably the single fighter of this era, especially this year, to put together a fight card so soon after his last performance. He's been speculating on whether or not he wants to move up to heavyweight, and I think that he should. I mean, right now he's 30 years old, he's in the center of his prime, and there are fights to be had at heavyweight. He is definitely a fighter that will give his cruiserweight companion's difficulty based on his height and reach. Back to Billam-Smith, who is what I would consider a plodding basic boxer. He is strong, has a sturdy foundation, and what I call a ham-fisted fighter, meaning that he has strength in both hands, but he lacks mobility and fluidity. The strength that he punches with can be an advantage against lesser opposition, but more experienced fighters like Okolie might be able to tie him up and stall his offense. And I'm certain that that's going to be the case because these guys are very familiar with one another, having sparred over 100 rounds with each other in the gym. So, will the Cena look-alike in Billam-Smith be able to bring something different to the table to give Lawrence Okolie a different look? The cruiserweight title is on the line here, and Okolie has warned that his nickname is the Sauce. Now only he can tell you why they call him that, but he's going to have to put on a saucy performance against Billam-Smith if he wants to be able to move up to heavyweight and make people take notice of him. His ranginess and imposing reach is his best advantage at cruiserweight, and he has a tremendous big right hand. Similar to what Deontay Wilder does in the heavyweight division, if you get caught with Okolie's right hand, you will be in trouble. And because Billam-Smith is aware of that, he will or should have defense set for that. He should be training for that. I believe he's being trained by Shane McGuigan. And take advantage of another weakness from Okolie. His footwork is lacking. That's something to consider when a big guy as tall as a pine tree in Okolie, but his mobility is quite stagnant. The two men are like two mummies in there going at each other. And the crowd will definitely be with Billam-Smith. He has that type of following. Sometimes they can boost you when you're fighting at home to give you that sense of strength and encouragement to make you perform a little bit higher than where your normal level of performance may be. If he can feed off of that energy, stay away from Okolie's big right hand, he may be able to put a loss on Okolie's record for the first time. But I don't believe he will prevail in this fight. Simply, he's not a great boxer. And like I said, his wins have come over lesser opposition than Okolie. And Okolie, who is trained by Sugar Hill, who will undoubtedly make a difference between the corners because of his experience and what he's been able to get accomplished with Tyson Fury. I'm certain, more than certain, that he'll bring certain strategies and tactics to incorporate from Okolie in this fight. Shane McGuigan is going to have to show his wares as a coach, trainer, and mentor and see what he can do against what Okolie brings to offer Billam-Smith the opportunity to win this fight. Overall, I think that Okolie, upon victory, should go ahead and move up to heavyweight and stop dilly-dallying around at cruiserweight. He'll be stronger and he'll face greater challenges. At the end of the day, because these two men are familiar with one another, this fight can go one or two ways. It can either be another snore fest for Okolie, who sometimes he can be very robotic himself and methodical, or it can be a blowout because one man wants to prove to the other that they are of a different class. And sometimes you don't know who that be until the fists start flying. My overall pick in this fight is Lawrence Okolie in a routine unanimous decision, and hopefully after that, before the end of the year, he can have his first fight at a heavyweight. But Billam-Smith will have the crowd behind him, and that can really move a fighter in certain instances. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know who you think will win the WBO Cruiserweight Championship fight this Saturday. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.